Silent Redemption by Amy Brown. Fade in. Exterior, apartment, day. Government-type low-rent housing. Run-down building in a crowded city. Interior, apartment hallway, day. A drill hums loudly. A maintenance man installs a doorbell on the doorframe of Pete's apartment. Interior, Pete's apartment, day. An elevated train squeals and rumbles by, just outside an open window as it shudders. Dark, tiny one-room apartment. Several boxes of stuff, half-open, half-emptied contents on the floor. Stacks of sheet music litters the dusty floorboards. Pete, 30s, long hair, tattered clothes, sits alone on a wooden chair by the window. He looks through a box that sits on the floor. A few books stacked up behind him. In the corner, a small single bed, mattress that dips in the center, worn blanket. On the other wall, a small kitchenette, sink, half-size fridge, and a short counter space holds two more small boxes still to be unpacked, marked kitchen in black Sharpie. Interior, Michael's apartment, day. Directly next door, the same size apartment, but this one is neat and tidy. Everything spotless. A perfectly made bed with white linens. A pristine oval rug hides most of the old floorboards. A tidy bookshelf, full of classics, arranged in alphabetical order. Michael, 40s, distinguished gentleman, graying hair, neatly combed, sits at his immaculate desk by the closed window. A hammer bangs and a drill hums in the hallway outside his door. He gets up and peers through the door hole.
You've got to be kidding me. A doorbell?
His phone rings. He answers.
Hey. Yeah, I guess. Doing okay. Someone just moved in next door, though. I just hope he's not weird.
Michael looks over at his manuscript in the old-fashioned typewriter.
You know I like to do things old school. This will be good for me, I hope.
He looks outside. He flinches as the drill hums and squeals again.
When I make the New York Times bestseller list.
He walks towards the door again.
I know, Mom. I'll be careful.
He peers through the door hole again, just about to lose his temper.
I gotta go. Love you too.
The drill finally stops. Footsteps echo as they leave the hallway and fade down the stairs. Michael peers out one more time. No one to be seen.
Finally.
He sits at his desk and looks at his hands as he lays them on his typewriter keys. He takes a deep breath, smiles, and closes his eyes. Cut 2. Interior, Pete's apartment. Continued. Pete places his rugged hands on a dusty music case, opens it up. Carefully, he pulls out an old violin. He lovingly clutches it in his hands. His eyes closed. Gently resting it on his shoulder, he lays his face against the instrument. He pulls the bow softly across the worn and broken strings. The most horrific screech fills the air. He smiles as if it's the most beautiful sound in the world. He continues to play this cat cry song, his face pressed hard against the violin, almost hugging it. Cut 2. Interior, Michael's apartment, night. Michael's hands hover above an antique typewriter. A large stack of paper, turned upside down, lay just to the side, with a large glass paperweight on top. He looks above his glasses out the window, looking for the right words to type. He reads the line on the page.
As the child looks up at his mother, she says...
His fingers come down just as the screeching from next door permeates his perfect space.
Shut up!
He types, then stops. Another screech, even louder this time. He takes a deep breath. He covers his ears. His anger grows. He tries to type again. The screeching is unbearable.
Not again.
Gets up. He lays on his bed, covers his face with the pillow.
I can't take this.
He bangs his fist on the shared wall between the apartments. In a few seconds, the noise stops. He takes a deep breath and holds it, lets it out. Quietly, he approaches his typewriter and sits again. He stares out of the window. His face lights up. He types rapidly as the ideas flow into his head.
Yes, yes.
Page after page he types.
Genius.
He smiles. Then, Greech! The playing is even louder this time. The music is grating at his every nerve. He flinches, clenches his fists. He bangs on the wall. This time it does nothing. The screeching and cracking violin plays on. He sits down. Frozen, he looks at the keys. Nothing but horrible grinding sounds from the wretched strings fill his head. He grips his ears. He looks around, opens his desk drawer, and pulls out a hammer. He swings it against his hand. He paces the floor as the violin squeals on. He hits the wall with the hammer. Bang, 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 marks the wall with black streaks. The wretched noise continues. He storms out his door into the hallway. Interior, hallway, continuous. Michael sees the new doorbell that says Ring Doorbell. But he uses the hammer instead to knock loudly on Pete's door. The violin screeches drown out the banging. Michael checks the knob. It's unlocked. He hammers the door one more time. Still no response. He opens the door and rushes in. Interior, Pete's bedroom, continuous. Pete sits facing the window, back to the door, and is lost in his playing.
Hey, what's wrong with you? That sound is deafening. I'm trying to work next door.
Pete continues to play.
Hey, I'm talking to you.
Michael grabs the violin. Pete's shocked. He throws the instrument on the bed and raises the hammer above his head. As the hammer comes down, Pete offers his hands instead of the violin. Tears stream down his face. Before Michael can stop, he hits one of Pete's knuckles with the hammer. Pete cries out with a muffled sound. Pete falls to the floor on his knees, holding his bruised fingers. Michael sees a textbook on the floor. The cover reads, School for the Deaf. Several other books stacked up in the floor. American Sign Language and Feeling the Music, etc. He sees the worn-out strings, the ragged bow. He drops the hammer and helps Pete to his feet.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't... You can't hear me, can you?
Pete signs to him, mouths, I'm deaf.
Oh my God,
Michael tries to sign with his hands, but doesn't know what to say. He turns to the door and sees a big red light above the door.
Oh.
Michael helps Peter onto the bed. He runs to his apartment, comes back quickly with ice and a rag. Peter's shaken, but seems to understand what is going on now. He holds the ice to his hand. Michael pats his back, but still doesn't know what to say.
I'm gonna make this right. Somehow.
Michael leaves. Interior, Pete's bedroom, the next day. A red light above the front door flashes. Pete peers through the spy hole and sees Michael pushing the doorbell. Michael shows him a package through the peephole. Pete reluctantly opens the door. Michael smiles as he hands the package to Pete. His hand is bandaged. Michael opens it. It's brand new strings and a new bow.
Peace offering.
Peter smiles and tries to open the strings, but his hand is sore.
Here, let me.
Michael picks up the violin and gently takes out each old string, replacing them with brand new ones. He smooths the bow and spreads rosin against the fine hair of the new bow. He lays the updated violin and bow on his tattered bed and leaves. Interior, Michael's apartment, later that week. Michael types away at his typewriter. He wears large headphones over his ears. An empty box on the floor says, Noise-canceling headphone. He smiles as he puts the last page on the large stack of papers. A huge sigh. He takes off the headphones.
The end.
Michael proudly places the paperweight on top. He jumps onto his bed and turns on the TV. A familiar screech fills the air, slightly more tolerable. He automatically lifts his fist to bang on the wall, then stops. He smiles. He turns up the volume extra loud as he watches the news. He thinks for a moment, goes back to his desk and pulls out a book from a library bag. A quick glimpse of another book still in the bag. Title reads, Anger Management Techniques. He lays back down on the bed to read. He shuts off the TV. See you on book. Title reads, American Sign Language for Dummies. He smiles and looks at the wall, rubs his hand over where his hammer made marks. Fade out.